I wanted to talk about the power of art and the paradox of the arts workforce. And I think actually the two previous speakers have touched on this already, because if you think about art and creativity, if you think about artists through the ages like Pablo Picasso, who in a sense completely changed our nature of human beings in terms of how we look, how we look at things. William Morris, Alice Lowry, they took everyday art into the lives of ordinary people. The sculptor, modern-day sculptor Anthony Gormley, of course, now asking ordinary people to occupy the fourth plinth down in Trafalgar Square. And of course, let's not forget Leonardo da Vinci himself, an unparalleled genius, really, in the history of humankind. And indeed, let's not forget, was also an apprentice. So where would we be? Where would we be today without a Robbie Burns, without Charles Dickens, without a George Eliot, who, of course, famously wrote as a man but was a woman? Alice Walker, who probably did more through the colour purple to challenge racial stereotypes in America, certainly as much as the civil rights movement itself. And what about the power of music in our lives over the ages? The Beatles, Dylan, where I'm from in Coventry, the Specials, who I understand are out on tour again, Coldplay, Madonna. These are all people that leave a huge impression on our lives. Where would we be without Tracy Emin and her bed, and indeed her drunken rant on the Michael Parkinson show? These are all things that leave a huge impact on us. So the arts is progressive, it's democratic, it's subversive, it's cultural, it's countercultural. It challenges the very nature of who we are. And that brings me then on to the arts workforce itself, because where does all this art and creativity come from? Who supports the art and creativity? Who makes this venue possible for us to have this lunch this afternoon? And that really brings me on to the paradox of the arts workforce itself. It's a workforce that's huge, actually, in the UK context. Nearly 80,000 people work in the arts. But it's a workforce that Greg Dyke himself described once as hideously white. It's a sector where 60% of the workforce is male, although looking around this room you wouldn't think that. It's a sector that's absolutely endemic and riven with what I call the work experience, work for nothing culture. Not only is it a sector where actually over 60% of people earn less than £20,000 a year, when the national average is £24,000 a year. We seem as a sector to think it's acceptable not only to pay people very low salaries, but also to exploit often artists who give their time freely. And it's a sector that's extremely small in terms of the way it's constituted. I mean, small in terms of 87% of the sector employs less than 10 people. 40-odd% of the sector is freelance. So it's not like other big industries where it's easy to structure training and skills development around areas like apprenticeships. It's easy to institute large-scale continuing professional development programs. It's a really, really difficult sector to reach. So what are we going to do about it? How are we going to take the transformative power of the arts itself and look to transform the workforce? That's my passion and my organisation's mission as we move forward. And of course, formal apprenticeships have got to be a part of that solution. We've been struck actually around the country the amount of interest there are in apprenticeships. Right here in Scotland, we're piloting the very first creative apprenticeships. The reason why we're filming this event is because we run a careers channel online called Creative Choices. We've got to give people better information about the jobs and the roles that do exist out there. And thirdly, we need a culture of continuing professional development in our sector. It's a sector that often moves from feast to famine. People get brought in on a show, they work very long hours. When do they get the opportunity to actually nourish themselves through skills development and professional development? So finally, my provocation to you is, how do we take the transformative power of the arts and translate that into a transformative approach to workforce development? Thank you.